Hey everybody, welcome to episode 133 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. Jingle. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood Tide Ben. BT, how you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. Just off the high of the tournament at the weekend, which is great. Good feeling. Start of 2024. Yeah,
well, we've got some tournaments coming up as well soon, which is pretty cool. And running those tournaments that we've got coming up, we've got Ian, Triple Pow, Triplo, and Miltonio Banderas. How are our TO extraordinaires?
Very good, very good. Good to see you, gents.
Yeah, very good, thanks. But on a bit of a hobby high, been doing some painting. So
yes. It's been good. January's been pretty good for hobby at the moment. Yeah. People are like painting things and building things. It seems to be going quite well. I even saw a joke to you the other day, Milton, didn't I? That it's going to be like 1 for 1 on teams per month. You're nearly done with the team. I'm nearly done with the team. It's like...
That's not happening, considering that like one Tomb King has taken me like 24 hours.
All you need to do is not sleep. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you've got 6 whole days left. You'll be fine. Maybe 5 days.
Anyway, other than nonsense, BT, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to be talking about that tournament I went to, Barton Bowl in Eastleigh, run by Hex Baron. And it's an amazing event, and we'll go through that in detail in a minute. We're also going to be talking about Tourplay, because the tournament used Tourplay, and how that's being used in tournaments now, which is kind of cool.
It's very exciting. Yeah, that was Milton was straight in on it. He was like, how did Tourplay go? How did Tourplay go? I was like, no, let's talk about it on the podcast, because I think it'd be useful to know, because using Tourplay is awesome for League, really awesome. I think Trips, you'd be in agreement that having done Entoyment and Wobble, it's perfect for League.
Absolutely perfect for League, really good, and it's got such a good entertainment factor for everyone, keeps everyone tied in, and solves the problem of the dice rolls at the end of the game. Do you do them then when people are watching? Do you think about it? You can still do it, or do you do them 5 minutes before League and screw up everyone's inducement plans?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. No, you're right. Being able to follow the games along is really, really, really cool. Because Ben, I think you went to one, I don't know, maybe November last year.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, I was on a walk with Tiff. I would just crossed this little bridge. I was like in the middle of the bridge looking at my phone. Tiff was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, Ben's lost his big guy. She was like, "Is he all right? Like, where did he lose it?" And I was like, No. It's just been injured." And he's like, "Ben's been injured." I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake." It's like, yes, Ben's gone now.
Yeah, just say yes. Yeah.
And then we continued our walk. But no, that was good. Yes, so yeah, Ben went to a tournament, and we want to hear all about the tournament and ask lots of questions about Tourplay. Right. We're going to jump straight into it again. We're going to try and keep this to be a quick one, because we've got a little helper with us today. So if I have to be quiet for a bit, is because Libby May is having quite the day. But anyway, onwards to Barton Bowl. Okay, so Barton Bowl 2, right, Ben?
Yes, the second one. The first one was later last year. Yeah, I think Milton was going to go to that one.
And I had to dive out for family reasons. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really, because it's so local. It's really convenient.
Yeah, it's run at Barton Peveril College in Eastleigh, which for me is like 10 minutes away. It's fantastic. So yeah, I was really snapped that one up. And yeah, a lot of people went. I
was really impressed. There was like 50 or something?
Yeah, 50 coaches. Yeah. And it was... it was run in the college. The guy running it works there, so he was able to get the rooms out, which was awesome. And loads and loads of prize support as well. He had been in touch with like Charlie Vic's prizes, like Doc Miniature. There's a guy from Agama Minis, which is like a new company that's just started up. And he was selling stuff there. They even had like a shop booth thing. And just to pass on his word, he did say they're doing a Kickstarter. So if you go to Agema at AGEMA and follow their Halfling project, which I think is coming in March. So I'm just going to pass that message on for him. They're really cool. He was selling them there early, so that's quite cool.
Yeah, we'll put the link to the. You chucked me already the link to the Kickstarter. Yes. Do you know when it's gonna start?
Yeah, I think March. He said. I think middle of March.
Cool. We'll
Yeah,
put the link to
so
that in the
if you-
show notes, so that's available.
Yeah, just notify him because it lets him boost the Kickstarter boost it basically. But yeah, no, it was great to see. It was like a really big event, and expertly run. They even had bake off. That was like a sub bake off where people were encouraged to bring in baked goods.
Oh, wow.
And
That's very cool.
Yeah, so there was loads of snacks.
So,
Yeah.
So, like I think Chris Hexbaron, he put a picture of the sort of layout in our Discord before it came out. It looked fantastic. I mean, the college looks very nice, and like the layout he'd done with the dugouts on a sort of separate sort of side table, like a mini side table, that looked very convenient. But I think he mentioned like having the like 2 rooms or something. So was it split out across 2 rooms? How did that work?
Yeah, so we had one big room, like large college classroom for that held 25 tables. And then because he was able to get another classroom over the other side. So it was like on one, it was like a middle corridor. There's a room on one side, room on the other side. Yeah. And both rooms held tables. So it was like the top end tables are in where he was. And then the lower end tables are in the other room.
in the peasant room.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
In the room of failure.
Where there were no baked goods or shops.
They do that in, I can't remember. I don't know what it is, whether it's a 40k tournament or a Blood Bowl tournament. One of the podcasts or something I've listened to, they have that where they've got several rooms and it's like top tables are in one room, medium tables are in the second room, and like the bottom tables are like in the corridor, and everyone just simply does not want to be in the corridor. And it's this. I think it might have been Chaos Cup, I don't know.
You guys seen Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
Further back on the train, the lower class again.
Yes.
Is that another Sean? Is that Sean Bean?
It is. It's fantastic.
I remember seeing adverts for that back when I had Sky before I went to streaming only. I'm thinking, oh, I bet he dies. Who knows?
Couldn't yeah.
Oh, we're not
Couldn't say on that one.
Has the show been cancelled yet? Because there's still time.
I don't know. Yeah. No. But yeah, no, it was incredibly well run, and a huge shout out to Hex Baron, who is coming to Beachhead. But yeah, huge shout out. Phenomenal event. Have no notes.
Oh,
expert.
That's good to hear.
That's such great news.
Actually, no, I do have one note.
Oh,
and we'll touch on that. Do you guys want to talk about the tournament first or Tourplay first?
Tournament.
Tournament. Yeah, let's do tournament.
Let's talk the build. Talk anything cool you saw, and talk through your games, and then the notes.
So it was a 3-game tournament, just a one-dayer. It was 5 tiers. Corn were in tier 4, which was great. So yeah, I think we had like 5 Corn teams here.
So were these tiers the World Cup tiers from last year or something new?
No, I think they were slightly different. World Cup at 6, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, so this meant that I had 1180 to spend on the team, which is great because you can get 4 Seekers, 4 Corn Gores, big guy in with that, 2 rerolls. But then what was interesting was the skill package, which I think is taken from something else. Some of them, I think someone was saying that. But it was new to me. And it was that you had a skill cap of 3, which meant that you couldn't take skills if it would exceed 3. Like you
can't take guard 4 times.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if your team has it built in, you can't take it additional times. So you can have more of one skill if it's built in. Obviously, like if you have an Amazons, you can have all that dodge. But you can't take dodge on anyone. Not that you would. Or like dwarves, you could have block on all your linemen, but it means you can't put block on a player that doesn't have it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, for instance, I had Corn with the 4 Corn Gores. I couldn't put Juggernaut on the big guy because my Corn Gores have it. And I chose to put block on 3 Seekers. You could stack skills for free as well. So here's where I stacked Mighty Blow on 2 of them.
Roster looks lovely, man. It looks very nice.
It was actually really quite effective to some degree.
Who knew?
There is a better Corn roster that I saw, which definitely was a bit clever with them. But this was great. I've been so fed up of not breaking armor with Corn. And so I just thought, you know what? Let's just go in. And in my game against the Orcs, spoilers, I got 2 big guns out like a turn 2.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, so it was a really interesting build. And it meant that we were seeing rosters with really interesting skills. I like having this limit. It's actually really fun. I liked it a lot.
I really like that concept because I mean, quite often there are some very cool, like bashy teams in particular. I think there are some very standard sets, aren't there, where you basically just stack the same skill, and quite often you stack that skill on players. So you might have like a whole bunch of guys with block, like say, let's pick orcs for example. You've got block on the blitzers. Well, I want block on my big uns because they don't start with it. Well, hang on a second, can't do that. And then you're thinking about, well, hang on a second, where am I going to put the guard placement? Where am I going to do it? No, it's actually a really, really smart idea, particularly for the bashy teams, which I think we're very heavy in the meta for now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Orcs. Orcs are the boogeyman at the moment, which I am a huge fan of. Huge fan.
But, me too, especially after our draft. So,
yeah. Well, there was a lot of tournaments. It was actually very common, like in number 4 times, to have a limit of like 2 of a certain skill. I'm not sure I've ever seen the you can't take it if someone else across the team. I don't think I've seen that before, but
I think it's cool.
Makes sense. Like I do kind of get it. I'm trying to think if there's anything you would be stitched on, and I think maybe wood elves. Because they've got dodge on the war dancer, so you get one more dodge across the whole team. And same with dark elves.
Skaven,
you don't need dodge on Skaven. Ben, stop dodging.
No, not saying dodge.
Blitzer.
Not saying dodge. I'm thinking with like block, you get 1 blodge gutter runner. I don't know how many you usually take, but
as many as you can give me.
Oh yeah, so you get 2 blitzers and then 1 blodge gutter run.
Yeah,
you can't have it on more than one.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I do. I think that's good. I do think that's good. Anyway, talk us through your team and how you spent all of these magical skills.
So I took the full corn roster with 2 rerolls. So if there was positional, I had it, and then 3 linemen.
Four dogs, nice.
Yeah. With 1180, it's good. Then you get. I put block on 3 seekers, and mighty blow on 2 of them, and 1 seeker was just skillless. I had 2 guard corn gores and 1 short hands corn gore. Now, there was a package for 6 primary, 2 secondary. I went for 8 primary just because I wanted to stack mighty blow. I felt I didn't need the secondaries. However, there was another corn roster that did take the block on the blood spawn, and it stacked guard. No, it had block, guard for the seekers, and then I think it had strip ball, sure hands, leader.
Ooh, strip ball jugs on the corn dog.
Yeah, so I think that was probably a better shout because then he got a leader for a 3rd reroll as well.
I will say that no matter what you do with the big guy, if you use your double and put block on him, or you don't, no matter what you do, it's not gonna be right. Like there's no correct answer.
Block on him is great, and he did double skull in his first turn on round 3 and killed himself.
Block doesn't help a double skull. Like
no, sorry, double both down. Sorry.
Yeah, that one it does. Yeah.
Yeah, that one does.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a tasty roster. That is potent for corn dog. The corn that is.
Yeah. So the other corn roster didn't have the mighty blow, which actually really helped. Really, really helped. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss going back to corn without that mighty blow because it was good.
Is that going to be what we hear at Beachhead from you then? It's like, I've only had mighty blow.
Another 9 on the injury. Yeah.
No, that's always the way. Like Milton, even with like your black orcs. No, not black orcs. Your big uns. Like if you give them block, you wish they had mighty blow. If you give them mighty blow, you wish they had block.
Or guard, any of the above. Like it's never right. And even when you like give 2 to one and 2 to the other.
And then when you can take all 3, your opponent gets hack phlegm. Or mini or hack phlegm Junior, and
So how many points total, including skills, was your team? Sorry,
13
value.
I think
13-10.
So that's quite high, isn't it? Like
there's quite a lot of variance in the team values. If you go on to the standings.
So that was my question, because obviously at 5 tiers, with a lot of different package choices, your variance in your team value is going to change quite a lot, and we know that team value can make quite a significant difference, but maybe not at this level. However, it does sound like you're on the sort of higher end of. I mean, we run what with, let's say, like a tier 1 team at Beachhead. How many points are you? How much value are you going to end up at? It's about 100 and something K
remember.
less, isn't it?
Be 1250.
Yeah,
1250, right?
It'll be between 1250 and 1300.
Skill,
No,
skill
no, it won't. It'll be less than that because it's 1100 beachhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it'll be between 12 and 12.5.
Yeah, which is a fair chunk less. But obviously, if you've got 5 tiers and you're in tier 4, I'm guessing the higher tier teams weren't given quite such a nice skill
Where did
package.
they
or
tier
Yeah, and it
orcs,
also,
Ben, do you know?
where do they tier? Orcs were tier 1, I believe.
5. We can live but hope.
So I guess they had less team value because they had
Yeah.
7 primary and 1 secondary.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
still pretty good.
No, that must have been tier 2. Oh, that can't be right.
No, that can't be a tier 1
That's
package.
That's the
fixed.
package they had on it?
That's fixed.
Have you just called someone out?
1, 2, 3,
Um,
4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so orcs are around 1250 to 1315, depending
Yep.
on
You
the
get
on the
pack
build.
2.
Orcs were tier
Is
2.
that a dodging blitzer? Because
Sorry, yeah, it was 4 tiers. Orcs were tier 2.
oh, okay,
Dodge sure hands.
Yeah.
4 tiers. Okay,
They got a better skill package than you did.
Yeah, well, I could take 6 primary, 2 secondary.
They
But I
took
just
7 primary, 1 secondary.
yeah,
No, technically what you said is better.
6 primary and 2 secondary. Yeah.
yeah.
Although 8 primary versus 7 primary and a double. That's worse.
Yeah.
That's still
Yeah,
quite
well,
high
yeah.
though.
It's a load of
in-
skills, Mill. You're right.
And what I was trying to get to is like something. In fact, Nick was so Kaijin Chicken was talking about this in the Discord earlier. He was sort of saying about Dungeon Bowl, Dorset Dungeon Bowl, and he was sort of saying, "Have you guys kind of like talked about the rule set for that yet?" He was saying about like including a new skill, and I guess my hesitancy there is the more skills you include, the higher inflated the team is, and you've only got a set amount of time to play in. And as we saw when we ran the summer tournament, was it last year? Not last year, the year before, and we gave the mascot in with the re-roll, any kind of addition, it just adds so much more time to your games. And then there's a concern that games aren't wrapping up in time. So I was wondering with this kind of skill package, how the players got on in terms of the time limit, the rounds. How has that played out?
Oh, we can have a look at Ben's first round, can't we?
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
Tourplay.
The advantage of Tourplay, yeah.
So let's go find Ben's first round.
Yeah. I played against Rupert, lovely coach, playing Dark Elves. And yeah, his interesting Dark Elf roster. Because obviously you can't just spam the usual suspects on elves, like you want dodging everyone.
I can
that-
hear the sadness coming from Triplo's lights.
And this does really help on this dark. This does really hinder Dark Elves because you
Yeah.
probably want blodgers, right, on your blitz.
Yeah,
blitzers.
he had 2 sidestep blitzers.
Yeah, because you got 2 dodge on Witch Elves, so you can only take 1. Yeah, to the 2 sidestep blitzers, really good against me.
Yeah, I was going to say, against Frenzy.
It makes me so sad
And-
that tackle wasn't a choice there. That they didn't go, oh, I need a tackler. Like, what does that say about the meta? That they've taken
Yeah.
2 sidestep instead of 1 tackle at least.
I did want to note there were no Underworld teams at this tournament.
Wow.
0.
Yay!
Yeah.
No one drafted Underworld. It's fine.
When does this go out? Is it after the Beachhead?
No.
No, before.
What, this episode?
Yeah.
2 days time.
Right. Okay. No, I'll keep stem. Carry on.
Yeah, like he clearly marked his sidestep out, and he still put it in the sideline. I was like, oh yes, I can serve a Dark Elf blitzer, and he was just like, his sidestep. Oh damn. It's so gun ho with that.
It's appropriate that you got frenzy baited. Like that's.
I did. I got proper frenzy baited. Yeah. But no, this was a good game. It just went quite downhill quite fast for the Dark Elves after they're in a position where they had to do a cage dive. It really failed. And then as soon as elves kind of mess up early,
Snowball.
it's like, yeah.
And
And they started moving players off the
Khorne
pitch. And,
is if Khorne can get if Khorne gets that snowball, they can pile on like no other
Oh.
team, right?
yeah, they don't stop.
You
and
start to get those easy frenzy
4 die blocks.
double blocks when you look like I don't even have to reposition my players. I can just
And you can just pass when you don't have
Yeah.
to do blocks others, you can just pass one player to the next and keep going until they're gone. Yeah.
Choo choo. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
frenzy train.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
His assassin, very good. went on a huge stabbing spree. He, I think, broke armor 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
KO'd 2 people, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Skidder stab getting some extra points then potentially.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. When I defended, I was I put it on the line, and I had just like I put 2 Seekers and a Corn Gore on the line. My skillless Corn Gore. Because I'm just like
good on that. That's
yeah. And he's like, well, I'll go. May as well. I said, you can try the Corn Gore for a stab if you want. He was like, you know what, I will. And he put him, stabbed him, and killed him. Just like, yeah, all right.
Always. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So how long was the game?
1 hour 45 on Tourplay.
That's not bad. Although you did get that bit of a snowball effect in this game, right? So it wasn't.
Second half was a lot quicker.
Yeah, and with like those L's missing, there's going to be a lot less plays. So, okay, well that's not too bad. Sounds like it was a lot of fun.
2
Definitely.
hours 12 for that game.
I think I got 4 casualties in that game.
1 hour 38. I mean, maybe. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. We'll talk about that another time. First of all, the fact this chap is called Nido King.
Nido King, yeah.
And game 1 of tournaments is generally the longest game of the day as well, because people are getting into the teams and working out what everyone else has got.
Cracking names here. We've got Deathwish. I just saw Dalio. Primac.
A lot of familiar names that we'll probably be seeing in a couple of weeks.
Lads. Oh, Rick as well. Oh,
Yep, Rick showed up for that one. I mean, he lives like 30 seconds away. Ridiculous.
About time. He's put in his time, especially that time he came across from France.
Yeah.
Anyway, BT. So first round you went 2-0.
Correct.
And then
Yeah.
into round 2. See if I can find you. Ooh, table 2 in round 2.
Yeah, I think I was second in the standings at this point because I had a lot of casualties as well. So it was good points. And
I love this. I don't know who that is, but that's great.
This guy was hilarious. And yeah, as soon as I saw the team, it was one turning isn't real gameplay. He was like, yeah, I always play against like Skaven people. I just wanted to let him know. This was really fun, actually. This was a really hard match. We both agreed it was like a really good match of Blood Bowl. I received, and the offensive, or his defense was so good. And there was both results that really bad dice rolls that we both had to recover from. And it ended up me having to do a 3+ dodge, 3+ pick up to score, which you never really want to do. And I managed to do it. But I'm just like, you can't really get better than that. Like, we had both hard fought this drive, and then it happened like the same again on the way back.
And you lost your Bloodspawn pretty quickly.
Yeah. So this was the game where he double skulled. Double both downed. Turn 1 on the blitz.
Took himself out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's where it was like really interesting.
Yeah.
And against mummies as well. Like his roster, I think it had 1 mummy with block, 1 without.
That's your team.
I think he's one with mummy, 1 with block, 1 with guard.
Yeah, that was it.
Guard blitz.
So I was really trying to get the guard one out.
Tackle, mighty blow, blitzer, shorehand score, and a dirty player zombie. Good.
Oh, that zombie was awful. That was a lot. He did a lot of fouling with that.
That's a really nice team.
Yeah, it was strong. It was really potent. I could not remove his like key players. The guard mummy was doing everything it needed to, just standing there, getting up and rushing to get in position, like mummies do. And just a really tough game, but a really well-deserved win. I think he scored just when he needed to on his drive, and then turned me over afterwards and got a 2-1.
Okay, so going into round 3, you're 1-1. There we go.
Sorry, how long was that game?
Hour 56.
Oh, okay. So a bit longer, a bit closer to the. Well, how long were the rounds?
2 hours 15, I think.
Okay, so not too bad. Not too bad. You had time to spare.
Yeah.
4 minutes. Remember, this is from Tourplay. So
no, you said 2 hours 15. So you got what, 19 minutes? If I'm doing math right then. Yeah.
And you got Deathwish in round 3, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, first time we played. It was awesome.
That's so
I love
cool.
Deathwish.
Yes.
I love Matt. He's great. And it was quite funny because I think first place and fourth place, or however the pairings work, does first play fourth in Swiss?
No, first place second in
First-
Swiss.
Does it always do that? Okay. Well, however the pairings worked, I can't remember. I think you had like Orc playing Wood Elf, I think, into round 2, but neither of us wanted to play Orcs. And yeah, was it that? I was an ability Orc, that was it. So both myself and the undead were just like, oh, thank God we both didn't have to face the Orcs, because like neither of us want to have that matchup. And then I get dead switch and I'm just like, thank God this is the Orc player I play. At least Mark is great, as I can just inevitably lose this game.
Milton, what do you think to the roster? Troll with Pro, Big and Guard, 2 vanilla Big Uns, Blitzer, Mighty Blow, Blitzer with Tackle and Mighty Blow, Blitzer with Guard, Vanilla Blitzer, Alignment, an OTB Thrower, and a Goblin.
Ian would be pleased to know that I did forget that skill again.
Oh no!
Fortunately, it didn't matter.
I was going to say,
what
what were you doing? Passing would be my next comment.
Near that,
it's just a
fearsome
kick-off move. I'm just like,
thrower.
oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a pretty solid list. I mean, I personally probably wouldn't take a troll, but then you've got so much to play with in this package, right? So
I'm seeing no star players as well.
You can only star player on tier 4. Only stunties can take stars.
That's
Okay.
They were
refreshing
like no
a
stars.
little bit.
yeah, I like that too.
It's not representative, I think, of well, I've compared this again. I'm gonna be stum about that because I love Blood Bowl teams playing other Blood Bowl teams in games of Blood Bowl. That is the biggest difference, I think, between this edition and the last edition. Is it was star players were kind of rare and now they're ubiquitous. So to see this many rosters where the team is the team,
Yeah,
that will also save game time.
Yeah,
I think that's a big thing, is because a star player comes along and you're like, right, who is he? He's got 9 skills. What do they do? There's that additional time, and I reckon the star player costs 5 to 10 minutes of a game. And
yeah, you know what? I hadn't even factored that into it, but I think you're right.
especially when they're all bombers. Anyway,
Yeah, and
that's
a lot of rules talking and everything. Yeah, the thing is, if you're right, and there's no stars, and I wouldn't take the troll normally, but I mean, I guess if you've got that much
4,000
wiggle room, yeah. So yeah, I mean, pretty solid roster, and I think, like I said about the Orcs, it's quite challenging as to what skills you're going to take if you've got the block across the blitzers already. But no, I like that. That's a good roster.
Anyway,
Yeah,
BT,
leaving
how
room
did the game
for
go?
Sorry, the game was great. Yeah, really fun. I took out 2 big uns really early. Sadly, not the guard ones, which I really did pay for. And yeah, eventually I think I just got ground down, which is pretty much every single time I played against Orcs with Khorne. It's just been like, I describe it as slapping a wall repeatedly. It's so much effort and you don't get anywhere. Like, and you just end up hurt at the end of it. Like, you make so little progress. It's so hard. Even with Mighty Blow, removing players is so hard. Especially when Claws isn't really doing its thing.
And Orcs
I
are
think I
really,
lost mine.
they're tough because they've got a higher floor but a lower ceiling than Khorne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Khorne, I mean, they're just big red goblins, really. If you dice well, you're done in 45 minutes. If you dice poorly, you're done in 45 minutes. If you dice on average, you're done in 1 hour, 45 minutes.
56 minutes, yeah.
My Bloodspawn got taken out immediately in this game as well. I think this time it was a dirty player Orc. Or not dirty player Orc, the honorary dirty player Orc. His lineman was the fouler.
Yeah.
I think he took him out. And yeah, that was just brutal. When you lose claws as well, breaking through the armor is like, and the strength. You often need those strength 5 blitzes to just clear a hole and move away guard or something.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, this is a good matchup.
It was
this
fun.
Is a delicious combat. I'd love to see this. I would watch this game.
Yeah, it was fun. We had serfs, we had baits, I even did this stupid play I was explaining to Mark, I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna pay off, because if I serve, if I do this stupid play, I'll get like 3 players off. And I basically had to like move a guy, I moved the Bloodseeker like around, like via the sideline to blitz from the other angle, because then I had an angle to get him to the sideline and frenzy him out. So where I was stood, I could just push him along. But if I went around, it would be great. And I did it, and I got the 2 dice, and I got the push, and I got a push both down. I'm just like, no, I want to surf him, double skull. So I took the push and double skull, and you're just like out of rerolls, and you're like, and then I did it again later in the game. I did it again. I'm just like, no, it happened once. I'll do it again. No, take the push. The second block goes terribly.
That's not how Blood Bowl odds work.
Yeah, I know. I eventually learned my lesson, I think, and decided, look, if the first block is a POW, take it. It doesn't matter that it's not a surf. I got a bit too obsessed. But with orcs, sometimes you need the surf. It's the only way to break through them.
Greed is a real thing. Anyway, it's never a bad thing, I think, to fall to an opponent like
No,
Marcus.
no,
That's-
incredibly gracious. Lovely guy.
And to lose to Orcs, the 2024 Boogeyman team.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Libby May. Are you awake now? Oh, okay.
Giving your opinion on orcs. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, take another game.
Oh,
Yeah. That's
time
it.
for me to mute you guys. Carry on.
Speaking of orcs, the winner of the tournament was orcs.
Hey.
Going to
1 point for me.
Yeah, Itchin, veteran player. I think he's got like 7,000 NAF games. In.
Yes, he does.
Yep, went 3-0. We had, I think, 3-0s. Yeah, coach as well went 3-0 with Tomb Kings and 3-0 with Nobility as well. So, but what was interesting? So they had so many prizes. He broke down winners per category. So they had like an overall winner, of course, and they had a runner-up. But then they also had greenskin winner, humanoid winner, chaos winner, stunty winner.
Okay.
So stunty cup. Yeah, and it was just it was a really cool idea because he was just like, I've got all this prize support. I want to give it out fairly. So yeah, and so like there were loads of winners, which felt really cool.
That's
a lot
nice
of people
'cause,
competing.
yeah, you get lots of people get to go away with something then. So that works out really nicely.
Yeah, he did say, I'm putting Skaven in the Chaos division because that's kind of where you need to put them, and then just everyone growl.
Yeah.
All like the Chaos and Renegade players. But then Drew came away and won it with Chaos chosen. So
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
he
well
did
done,
very
Drew.
with that. It's not a tournament in the South Coast if Drew doesn't go away with a prize of some sort. Is it?
Something to fill up his trophy room.
Yeah, exactly.
You say that.
But yeah, it was great to see.
You say that, but he's talking about moving to Spain. Did you?
I saw that. Yeah.
Saw a
Oh, really?
random thread that said, "Yeah, hey, what's the Blood Bowl scene like in Spain? Because my wife and daughter are pretty eager to move."
Enormous. I mean, he'd be out there like winning Spanish trophies.
You can run the Playa Head tournament out there. You can, outsource that.
No, that's actually really cool to like have that like divisibility, and we've kind of talked about that, and obviously we've talked about the series and how we're gonna kind of incorporate that into our tournament. So it's really nice that you kind of have like a secondary like rung to kind of aim for, even if you're not, because like it's kind of already there, isn't it? Like with the stunty players, like there's always this sort of kind of, I mean, I would say most tournaments, probably not every tournament, most tournaments run like a stunty cup or like something for the stunty players as a sort of secondary, and that's kind of that other category that you can fall into. But like, I guess there's so many other categories, isn't there? Because you've got your tiers, that like
World Cup,
yeah,
did
you
that
say-
as well, did they, Ben?
Yeah, you had like a best coach of each team.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really like that. That sounds like it was a really good idea. And yeah, I think Drew's been playing. I think he's trying to get one of every team, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's trying to cycle through one of every team, but he's such a solid player now.
Yeah.
And after all of his wins last year, I can see him doing extremely well with that. I think Wayne did that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was playing through the teams. Yeah.
Yeah, was very successful with it too. And I think that's a really cool way to play.
And obviously the build worked really well in terms of not having an individual meta. I mean, there are no repeat teams until 9th and 10th, and there are then 3 shambling undeads in the top 12. But the top 9 teams are all different races.
All right.
Yeah. That's actually really good to see. And like not much dash.
No.
No, but that is just like reflective of the current meta, isn't it? And it's like you're just saying about your game against the orcs. It's like I think that's very indicative of like what we're seeing a lot of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Hitting that, slapping that wall is it.
So on to the next topic of discussion. So we were looking at it through Tourplay. Before I talk about what I think of it, what are your guys' thoughts on Tourplay for tournaments? Like, what appeals to you, and what are you concerned about?
So appeals for me is definitely the fact that it's all there. It's easy to set up in terms of if you set it up right, it's easy for the players to get it, see what's going on. Everything's very visible, and it's very clear. So you've got less paperwork, you've got less details to worry about. It's literally all in your hand. I think that the fears is making sure it works because it's a new system and detail, and playing in places where the mobile coverage is less than ideal, which we found in tournament. If depending on which phone network you're on, you may be going outside to find out to order your food from the QR code.
So I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was a huge issue here. That actually really was, and that made me think just like, maybe Ben was right about the BIC.
Okay, so because this is something we've discussed about quite a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I mean, there's a huge overhead for the tournaments we run in terms of like the preparation that's done for it, in terms of getting everything right, and the fact that we manually do them. And those people that haven't used Tourplay to run a tournament, and they're doing it manually using what's the piece of software we use? Score, that is it. Yeah, using Score or something similar, and kind of having all the things come in. There's like the time required in between, like at the ends of the rounds, to get all the scores in, get the new things up, get it all sort of set up and everything. I mean, it works, but there is an enormous amount of like work in that. And I think the real appeal of Tourplay is to take that pressure off, because I guess in a certain way, if you're did Chris play?
Yes.
So this is probably the biggest advantage, I think, of Tourplay. If you're running a small to medium sized tournament and you want to play, this takes all of that admin out of it, right? You know, the admin's on the players can organize themselves, the software does it all, and you can join in, and then at the end you can just go in and look at it and tally it all up. And so that's probably the biggest appeal, I guess, for me towards it. But then there was this sort of massive fear from us, and we talked about this, about whether or not we would want to consider running Tourplay for our events, didn't we? And that kind of came to the conclusion that what we've got works, and to maybe not change that, because we didn't really have a great understanding. And that was the reason why I wanted to go to the first Barton Bowl, was to try it. Like that's what I was not. I mean, I wanted to play Blood Bowl as well, but like one of the things I really wanted to see was like how Tourplay was going to work, because I've not had a chance to use it yet.
It's that risk versus reward, isn't it? Of like the risk of what do we have at Beachhead last year? 70 something. The risk of
72,
in it going wrong was because we'd had this at one of our other tournaments where at the beginning score got misaligned with Google. I think it was down to me not doing something right, but like. That was a bit of a problem, but we got through it and it's fine. But like the risk of that happening because of other stuff is quite it clenches some things. So so you're right to that effect, Milton.
Did you struggle with this personally?
So the connection I'll touch on first. Actually, no. First I'll touch on the point you said, Milton, about Chris playing. He was asked at the end, did you find that it was really manageable? And he said, yes, kind of, but he had another TO, his wife, helping out with a lot of admin and stuff.
Okay.
He still felt it was quite a lot to manage, even while playing, even with all the automation. He still had to manage a lot. But like new pairings, making sure things
are good, a damn good size.
It's a lot. I would say that's heading into larger territory for sure.
So he definitely seemed like he would be more comfortable not playing.
You probably as a TO getting to the point where you're like, please let my game be an hour and a half, not 2 hours 10, because it's just things like time reminders and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I saw the same at Pitch Invasion. in High Wycombe in November, which was a much smaller tournament. It was like 12 people or something, and or maybe 20. And that Carl managed that while playing, and he found it quite a lot as well. And there was some entries which he had to put in manually because some people just didn't connect at all, or like didn't want to, or whatever.
Right.
And so there is that. Regarding the connection, yes, this massively affected me. There was a joke that there was a Faraday cage at the college that was causing an absolute null zone because it was nothing. You went in that college and you had, which is really weird for Eastleigh. Eastleigh is built like, I used to work there and I used to have great like 4G signal. It was fantastic. And for some reason, absolutely terrible. They had Wi-Fi, but it was EduRoam, which you could only connect to on an iPhone. Everyone with Android phones were just screwed. Yeah, there was a long, lengthy process I think you had to go through to connect to it. And Chris was just like, and honestly, I can't be bothered to deal with each and every one that comes up. So I fortunately provided Ultrabooks, so a Chromebook for everyone who needed them.
Nice.
So that the college provided with the login. And
Wow.
so everyone had like a laptop if they needed to.
That
like a little
is-
mini laptop.
That's a hell of a save.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah. Great organization, and that worked fantastically. Surprised Tourplay wasn't blocked or whatever, but yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
that gets around the other problem, which Ben was waving to us about, which is the concern about if you've got a device with a less than great battery and you're playing 3 2-hour games, are you going to absolutely murder your mobile device's battery and be playing game 3 fighting over the plug?
Yeah.
Just one long
Yeah.
league game at Entoyment did my battery in once. And I was like, oh, seriously?
There were charging facilities there, obviously, because you're in a classroom, there are plugs everywhere, so you could always just charge. But yeah, that is a concern. But I don't know. I think the pros outweigh the cons, you know.
Yeah.
And something I wished I think touching on that connection actually before I move on, I think a feature that Tourplay could have, not sure if it does, I didn't check, but I don't think it does, is if one coach could enter both players' results, like casualties.
Can't
and
do
things.
it yet.
Yeah,
It's-
which that would be handy because then you just need one
Kinda
to do.
dumb. Even at a league
Yeah.
night, like
Yeah,
it would just be so much better if you were like, "Oh, do you want me to just track this?" Because the
to
other
share
guy
a
would be
device.
like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
So wait, did he have to give a Chromebook to every player as a result of that? Because
Well,
I just
no,
assumed it was per
everyone just has-
table.
Some people could get a drip of
Oh,
like
okay.
signal. Some people just said mark it all at the end, which is fine.
Right.
That is another option where you can just tally it all up at the end.
guys, I'm so sorry. We've got a code brown situation, so I'm gonna have to nip off for a few minutes. But please carry on."
You're Libby. Sorry, leave Libby here. She'll be fine. All right. That's never happened on the podcast.
Yeah, we're glad to say that's never happened
Yeah.
on the podcast.
There was
before.
that time Milton had to dash.
Oh gosh, no. So that's really interesting because obviously that was one of our major concerns about it, and I think looking at this, like having gone through it, I mean, there's so many advantages to it, and I know a long time ago we kind of talked about the sort of the idea of having a platform like this, and then Tourplay kind of emerged, and now it's kind of come out of its infancy, and it's pretty widely used, and just having all of the kind of stats there, like going back and being able to go, okay, well, this game lasted 1 hour 56, and this skill package was this, and they didn't use stars, and then you can start to analyze some of that statistics. You can start to actually make better decisions, I think, based on like the information that's laid out for tournaments, for maybe even your own like personal like choices.
Yeah, I was looking through the other corner rosters, which was so easy to do on there.
Yeah,
Like just to see, like, okay, what does like it was all blocked beforehand. You couldn't see it until the day.
Yeah.
So that you also have that feature. But then retrospectively going back, being just like, okay, what decisions did these people make? Because did I go wrong somewhere?
Yeah, and well, I mean, the other huge advantages is like we give everyone paper, and this is obviously paperless, and so there's none of that overhead. There's none of that cost association. You rock up on the day, you just sign in, I guess, and that's it. Off you go. There's very little kind of administration on the tournament prep end of it, which means that you can put more energy and effort into the other areas, which it looks like Chris did a fantastic job of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's so much appeal to Tourplay.
I had one more point which you guys might find interesting, because you were the guys who check the rosters. You know, me and Ben, too lazy. So we there is an element that I thought might happen, which didn't really happen, but I wanted to see, was that because Tourplay automates so much stuff, I wonder if it encourages any complacency, where you kind of think just like, oh, Tourplay will validate it. It'll be fine. Everyone's gonna have the right skills. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think that does work. So I think the skills, all done. You can't cheat. You submit the skill packages you can take, and Tourplay will validate it, and it'll green tick it if everything's fine and dandy. That's awesome. But I think there were I found one roster which did bypass the 3 skill limit. That was the custom rule of this tournament, and that just went unchecked, and I don't think it mattered. I even messaged one of the coaches. And
okay, so it's not bug proof.
Well,
no, so you can't submit custom rules like that.
Yeah, so in that case, it's
okay.
a custom rule that's not in Tourplay.
Yeah.
So therefore, you'd either need to manually check the lot, or
Yeah, and I don't think we can expect Tourplay to handle custom.
yeah,
Layouts. That the
No, okay,
coding
that's
nightmare.
fair. Yeah. Well, okay. Interestingly, that's one of the points that we kind of discussed before, wasn't it? Was so this is, I don't want to say it's like a run of the mill's not the right term, but you know, it's like a standard format. That's better. Like a standard format tournament. There's no special star players. There's no
mixed teams
or any other kind of changes. It's standard teams, it's standard skills, it's standard stuff. There's a clear standard skill package, and that's great. You know, a fantastic layout for a tournament. We tend to put on things that change that, and we do have that customization. And so yeah, I mean, you're right, that one of those things that we were concerned about was the fact that for Beachhead, we run the Fen Beast. For Dungeon Bowl, we've got slightly different rules that we're going to implement this year. We weren't quite sure whether or not it worked for team play or the mixed teams or anything like that. And it does seem that Tourplay have addressed quite a lot of that already, that you can add custom
I think you can add the mercenaries. So I think you could add the Fen Beast as mercenary and have that as an option.
Yeah.
Right. But is the concern then around the fact that because it's custom and then it's not validated correctly because it's slightly different, is that then going to cause a problem and we still have to go through and make sure that everything's all right?
Yeah, I still think TOs should be checking.
Yeah.
I think you can't trust it to just handle everything. I think it is a case of
it's like any system. You push and you bend the rules, and you might accidentally open a gap for someone to go through.
Yeah, exactly.
And how
People
was
will
it
find
for how was it for the players on the day, Ben? Because one of the things is always looking at the standings and who's doing what and the detail. Was there did it take away from people gathering and talking about things?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think people were chatting more than they were looking at the phones for sure. Don't know if that was a symptom of the fact you couldn't see it, but yeah, it was. No, people were still being just like, oh no, how'd your game go? Like, it was still really social. Like, people were still talking through their teams. This was just used to, casualty, end game. Oh, and also generate the weather and stuff. Yeah, so it was just an easy log. And the fixtures going up and you just like check it. That's handy.
Yeah.
He just like round twos up, look at your phone, done. Know where you go.
That's pretty good. I mean, one thing I was just thinking about the connectivity issue is one way around it might be, I don't know the cost association, but I know Ben may have had a recent encounter with this, but having one of those mobile routers and then just letting everyone connect off of that.
What, 50 devices on one router? Can that take
well,
that?
if I don't know, I don't know whether that's like a feasible thing or whether you know, as a TO, or I mean, there's obviously like a financial implication to that, but whether or not that would help you get around it.
Yeah, probably would. I think honestly, my suggestion is if you know you're going to a venue with really dicey connection, like, you know, it's notably bad, like not like, oh, I get a couple of bars, that's fine. If it's like there are places in this building where you will get nothing, and that's what we're playing the tournament, just don't use Tourplay. Like, I just think if you don't have a backup, because you might end up causing more problems than it's solving. Right. I think there have been tried and true methods that we still use that tournaments I've used for ages that do just work, and I don't think it would be worth the stress of it not working on the day. If you have internet connection, though, it's phenomenal, and I'd use it every single time.
You guys may have talked about it, so sorry if I've missed this, but Libby and I were having a chat a second ago. One thing we historically raised was the technological barrier of trying to get everybody who, I mean, Milton, every time we do a tournament, we get a couple of people send it in on a back of a napkin, like, and stuff like that, which is fine if that's how you do it, because we want our tournaments to be accessible, which is why the skills and the costs and everything are quite low. The question is, would it be, if you got 50 people able to log on, do their team, would it be a suitable way to collect rosters for our events, potentially? Because you can set the skills package up, and then the skills package gets sorted by them, by Tourplay.
Yeah, so we did touch on that. We did just touch on that, yeah. So we were saying, sorry, does it mean that TOs have to do less management? And we were saying, like, it does do skills and things, but the minute you have any custom rules, you kind of got to check it. It is a good way to collect them, and it has it all in one place, which is
it's interesting what you say about the technological barrier. And I think sort of 3-4 years ago, a lot's changed in that time for us anyway. And I don't know whether that's because we've just got a lot of repeat custom, or whether that's because of things like Tourplay.
Yeah. Well, and also Tourplay's gone from, oh, what is it, and how does it work, to, I would reckon, 40, 45 of the players that went to that tournament had used Tourplay in one format or another. Because what you don't want is half the games where everyone starts and go, what do I do next? What button do I press? How does this work? What do we fill in? Or worse still, getting to the end and going, oh, we haven't filled in anything. What were we meant to do?
Yeah, that's true.
There's a cost, isn't there, as well, to host a tournament on Tourplay? Is that right? I think there's like a free one. Are they free? I thought there was a flat cost of like a $5 or something.
The tournament tools are definitely free for some time. I don't know if they still are. There might be. I don't think it's very much.
No, I think there's like a small flat fee for it. Like,
especially if you're getting to some people. Like,
okay, so the big question then is, for us, for Beachhead or for Bonehead Bowl, would you recommend Tourplay?
Yeah, 100%. I would. Okay. I know we're questioning the bit internet. I don't know if there are null zones, but I still think it's good. I think it would at least be good for what Ben was saying, where you could get rosters into it.
Yeah.
You don't have to use it on the day if you're feeling a bit questionable, but to get the rosters in, it's great. Especially because we have tournaments.
It's the format that they come in. It's like, we have a roster sheet. And it's
use the roster sheet.
It's like, I use the roster sheet, or, just
wine melting up.
Do it in Word. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting, and it's something we can look at during Beachhead, is the connection levels during the day. I mean, Beachhead is a unique tournament environment because it is a gaming show, and there are 400 gamers in a room with at least one mobile device each, if not more. So this is notoriously bad network coverage on that day, because
I'll bring my router, my 5G router, and we'll see.
Right.
Yeah. We've still got the awful BT one here, so Tiff can just about have the internet as I abandon her. But
we can also have a little charging hub for lunch or something. People can plug their phones in on the TO table. That could work.
Oh, really?
Just need a load of plugs and a load of USB ports.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like the world's biggest power bank.
Yeah.
you could trade in a reroll for a power bank for an hour.
Yeah. In short, though, I think it's great. I think I'm looking forward to playing more tournaments with it. I think it's awesome to see your past tournaments as well, because it keeps all of those. And it's also got other things. It's got like, your ranking that increases like outside of the NAF. It's got like, it's just got loads of little things.
And you can really feed the results into NAF, can't you?
You can, really easily.
So that's another admin task, which is definitely your admin task, Ben. So that's handy. Not the ability. Tourplay is good because it's not score.
Yeah, that's true. It's significantly more modern.
Well, it's got to
Which
be
is
better
very
than
rare in Guild Ball.
it's got to be better than Best Coast pairings or whatever they made us use at
Oh
Warhammer
Lord,
World.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That one's awful. Yeah, let's not talk about that one.
Ah.
No, I think we're incredibly lucky as a community to have this tool. Huge shout out to whoever made it. I'm sure we've spoken to them before. Have you, Ben? Have you I don't know if you chatted to them before, but no, can't remember.
No, it'd probably
they're
worth
great.
picking up with them because that's the only thing that's missing, right? Is if they could just give us a TO admin tool page, or just a co-player admin tool page. That would be it, and it would be good to go. And you got one device, one internet as a backup.
Yeah.
Goodness me, child.
Actually, I've got a question. A question, if Libby doesn't mind. Is like I don't know. I don't know whether you'll know. Is whether or not you can have multiple admins for the tournament. Because presumably, like somebody sets it up.
Yes, because you can.
Like, say for example, we're running the tournament, and all of us want to be able to manually enter in people's scores who didn't have connectivity or something. Like, how does that work?
You can.
I think you can because you can have multiple league admins.
Yeah.
Don't you?
That's cool. No, it sounds like they've covered a lot of the bases, and like I said, it's no longer in its infancy. I think a couple of years ago when we started to first hear about it, there was a lot of in and ahhing about whether or not it would be capable of doing this, that, the other. But so much development's gone into it, and
so they're very responsive as well.
Yeah, I mean, props to them for doing such a great job of that. But it's definitely
on the cost thing. Doesn't matter how much it is. I think even if it's £2 per player, worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
The one thing that we mentioned earlier, which I was just thinking through about the fact that both players have got to enter the detail, and it'd be handy if it was only one. I actually, from a sort of accuracy as a TO, I like the idea that both players have got to put it in, because what you're doing is you're taking away any point where someone has accidentally or deliberately made a slight error and been out by one casualty. It's not being checked, and that comes through as a big change. So although it's not great because everyone's got to have the connection, I think if you can get past that, can people access it? There doesn't seem to be any reason why you would not.
An option for the tournament would be good. So you can have a selectable option when you run your tournament, just like you can allow it or disallow it. I think that would be good.
I think if you went with, if you can't connect, here's a paper copy, write it down. The TO will fill it in as a backup plan. That sounds eminently
just like what we've been doing anyway. So that's why, that seems all right. Anyway, I think that's probably good. For Tourplay, I think we've kind of covered it all. I really like it. Like I said, I want to see it in future. I hope we run it in future.
Ooh.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll cover it. How does it go? It's like happy blocking something. Yeah, so
more Blood Bowl, more better. Happy blocking.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll send that. How's that?
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube Members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.